Senator Mwaruma is seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters Finance and Budget regarding the utilization of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund (NGCDF) allocation for constituencies in the Taita Taveta County. The Senate leader of the majority party is set to issue a statement on the business of the Senate for the week commencing the 4th of March 2025. And this statement will be issued pursuant to Standing Orders of the House, Standing Orders number 57, subsection 1. The Senator for Kisumu County, Senator Professor Ojenda, is this afternoon set to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters of Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights regarding the status of the judiciary. And away from that, the same Senator, Senator Professor Ojenda, has yet another statement that he'll be seeking from the Standing Committee on Matters of Information, Communication and Technology regarding recent data breach affecting the Business Registration Service, BRS service platform. Remember, our dear viewers, you can follow up on this live broadcast courtesy of our YouTube channels, that is the Senate of Kenya, KBC Channel 1, and you can also watch this live broadcast courtesy of our Signet channel. Away from KBC Channel 1, you can also follow up on it courtesy of Senate Television. And allow me to hand you over to the live proceedings of the Senate as the Speaker of the House, Honorable Amason Kingi, is already in the chamber, ready to preside over the business of the Senate. Enjoy your viewing and have a good afternoon.
Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba tuwajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, we have quorum. Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
It is a 10 minutes quorum bell at the Senate this afternoon, as has been directed by the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this afternoon. And the directive by the Speaker to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes is guided by the House Standing Orders at the commencement of business this afternoon. The House does not have the requisite quorum to commence business, and so we await until such a time when we will have at least 15 senators in the House to commence business this afternoon. So the other matters in the order paper this afternoon is the County Civic Education Bill, Senate Bill number 4 of the year 2024 by Senator S.C. Okenyuri. It is a bill that senators are set to resume debate on this afternoon, after the debate on the same was interrupted on the 13th of February 2025. The County Wards Equitable Development Bill, Senate Bill number 20 of the year 2024, sponsored by Senators Karungo Thangwa and Senator Godfrey Osotsi, and the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill, Senate Bill number 43 of the year 2024 by Senator Fatuma Dulo, are bills lined up for debate this afternoon. The last bill that the Senate is set to consider this afternoon is the Sports Amendment Bill number 2, Senate Bill number 45 of the year 2024. This bill is being sponsored by Senators Professor Tomo Jenda and Senator Raphael Chimera. The report of the Standing Committee on Matters Education on a petition of the Senate regarding the discrimination by the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, on the payment of hardship and enhanced house allowances to some teachers in Kilifi and Taita Taveta counties is a motion lined up for debate this afternoon. This motion is by the chairperson, Senate Standing Committee on Matters Health, currently chaired by Senator Betty Montet. The chair for the Senate Committee on Education is seeking to have the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Education on a petition to the Senate regarding the discrimination by the Teacher Service Commission on the payment of hardship and enhanced house allowances to teachers in Kilifi County, laid on the table of the House of the Senate on the 8th of October 2024, being a Tuesday afternoon. A motion on the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries on a petition to the Senate regarding the catastrophic maize diseases that farmers in Bomet County have endured for the last 12 years is a motion lined up for debate this afternoon. This motion is by the chairperson, Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. The chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, is seeking to have the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries on a petition to the Senate regarding the catastrophic maize disease that farmers in Bomet County have endured for the last 12 years. And the committee, having investigated this matter and grilled a number of stakeholders, laid its report on the table of the House on the 5th of December 2024. Remember, our dear viewers, there has been ongoing committee leadership changes in Parliament. The Senate is already done with its rearrangement and elections of chairpersons and vice chairpersons of various committees. And the newly elected chairpersons are set to take over or have already taken up their mandate in their new committees, where they'll be spearheading debates on various motions, on reports, on matters that have been handled by the various committees. Among them is a motion on the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture and Livestock and Matters Fishery on a petition to the Senate regarding the graft investigation by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, on the West Kano irrigation scheme. The chairperson, Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture and Livestock, that was previously chaired by the Senator for Kirinyaga County, but that has since changed after the Senate did its realignment on Matters Committee. The new chair of the Agriculture Committee will be seeking to have the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Agriculture and Livestock on a petition to the Senate regarding the graft of the investigation by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, on the West Kano irrigation scheme, laid on the table of the House on the 5th of December 2024. The other committee whose report is set to be debated on, or set to be debated this afternoon, is the Committee on Matters Trade. And this report by the Standing Committee on Matters Trade, Industrialization and Tourism is on a petition to the Senate regarding the alleged fraudulent dealings of Diageo PLC, an East African Breweries Limited Company, the Kenya Breweries, and UDV Kenya Limited. The chairperson, Standing Committee on Matters Trade and Tourism, will be seeking to have the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Matters Trade on a petition regarding alleged fraudulent dealings at Diageo PLC, East African Breweries Limited, Kenya Breweries, and the UDV Kenya Limited that was laid on the table of the House on the 5th of December 2024. The report of the Standing Committee on Matters Trade, Industrialization and Tourism on, yet again, a petition to the Senate on the need for the introduction of Hospitality Professionals
Honorable
Bill.
Senators, I'm informed we do have quorum now, so we'll straight away go to the order paper. Clerk, proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of this Senate today, the 27th of February 2025, being reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Isiolo County for the year ended 30th of June 2024. 1. County Executive Isiolo, County Assembly of Isiolo, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Isiolo, Receiver of Revenue, Revenue Statements, County Government of Isiolo, Isiolo County Assembly Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme Fund, Isiolo County Education Bursary Fund, Isiolo County Emergency Fund, Isiolo Financing Locally Led Climate Action FLOCA Funds, Isiolo County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2023, Isiolo County Referral Hospital, Isiolo Water and Sewerage Company Limited, Isiolo County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2022. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Isiolo County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2023. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I have reports of the County Executive of Tharaka Nithi, County Assembly of Tharaka Nithi, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Tharaka Nithi, Receiver of Revenue, Revenue Statements, County Government of Tharaka Nithi County Assembly Mortgage and Car Loan Fund, Tharaka Nithi County Executive Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme Fund, Tharaka Nithi County Youth Empowerment Fund, Tharaka Nithi County Emergency Fund, Tharaka Nithi County Bursary Development Fund, Tharaka Nithi County Climate Change, Municipality of Kadwana, County Government of Tharaka Nithi, and Nithi Water Sanitation Services Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, I have reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kirinyaga County for the year ended 30th of June 2024. 1. County Executive of Kirinyaga. 2. County Assembly of Kirinyaga, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Kirinyaga, Receiver of Revenue, County Government of Kirinyaga, Kirinyaga County Assembly Mortgage Fund, Kirinyaga County Assembly Car Loan Fund, Kirinyaga County Emergency County Education Bursary Fund, Kirinyaga County Executive Staff Mortgage Scheme Fund, Kirinyaga County Executive Staff Car Loan Scheme, County Alcoholic Drinks Control Fund, County Government of Kirinyaga, Kirinyaga County Investment and Development Authority, Kirinyaga County Climate Change Fund for the 14 months period, Kirugoya Kutus Municipality, Kirinyaga County Water and Sanitation PLC, and finally, but not least, Mr. Speaker, Kirugoya Kutus Municipality for the year ended 30th of June 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do lay all those papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. The Honorable Senator for Marsabit County, Senator Mohammed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have a statement on the outbreak of Kalaza in Marsabit County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the outbreak of Kalaza, also known as Visceral Leishmaniasis in Marsabit County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the outbreak has sparked serious public health concerns about Kalaza. If left untreated or not treated properly, cause severe organ damage and is fatal in over 95% of its cases. This is according to the World Health Organization, WHO. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide details of the outbreak of Kalaza in Marsabit County, specifying when the first case was reported, the total number of reported cases, and the affected areas. Number 2, outline actions taken to control further spread of disease, including details of the medical equipment, supplies, and personnel deployed in response to the outbreak, stating whether the county government of Marsabit has made a request to the national government for additional resources, and if so, whether the request has been fulfilled. Number 3, disclose the budgetary allocation by the national and the county government for initiatives to address the outbreak, indicating whether the allocations are contained in the previous approved budgets or were allocated on emergency basis. Number 4, provide details on any foreign donor support received in support of the initiatives to counter the outbreak. And finally, number 5, state whether there are plans to undertake fumigation in the affected areas, as it is the most effective control measures, and if so, provide a timeline for the same. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Now, upon request by the Senator for Taita Taveta, statement number 2 and 3 are hereby deferred. We go to statement number 4, the Honorable Senator for Kisumu County, Senator Professor Tom Ojenda.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand in for Senator Professor Tom Ojenda, and he has 2 statements. One on the state of the judiciary. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights regarding the state of the judiciary in the light of ongoing conflict between the judiciary and legal professionals. Mr. Speaker, sir, recent developments have cast a spotlight on the strained relationship between the judiciary and legal professionals, with concerns being raised regarding the state of the judiciary and the efficiency of the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, in promoting and facilitating judicial independence and accountability and in exercising disciplinary control over judicial officers. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the underlying causes of the ongoing conflict between the judiciary and legal professionals, stating whether the conflict stems from judicial overreach, lawyer misconduct, inefficiency, or failure in regulatory oversight. Number 2, provide us a report on all previous processes for the removal of judges from office, specifying the grounds of removal in each case and stating whether the procedural steps followed by the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, complied with the provisions of Article 168 of the Constitution. Number 3, evaluate the legality of the time frame for resolution of complaints against judges and judicial officers by JSC. Number 4, state whether the Commission has adequate resources, mechanisms, and statutory frameworks to ensure timely and effective handling of such complaints, and if not, disclose the gaps and the plans in place to address them. And finally, number 5, outline the role of Standing Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs and Human Rights in enhancing judicial efficiency, transparency, and accountability. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second statement is on the recent data breach affecting the Business Registration Service BRS platform. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Information, Communication and Technology regarding the unauthorized access by third parties to personal and company information in the Business Registration Service BRS platform on eCitizen on or around 31st of January 2025. In the statement, the committee should, 1, indicate when the government first became aware of the unauthorized access by third parties to personal and company information contained on the Business Registration Service BRS eCitizen platform on or around 31st of January 2025 in contravention of Section 25 of the Data Protection Act 2019, outlining any immediate containment measures implemented to address the data breach. 2, provide a status update on investigations into the matter, disclosing A, the nature and extent of data breach, including the number of affected individuals and companies, B, vulnerabilities of the information management system that were identified to have been exploited, contrary to Section 26 of the Act, and C, individuals or entities responsible for the data breach, including the legal or administrative actions taken against them. Number 3, outline measures put in place to mitigate the risks of identity theft and fraud arising from the data breach, stating whether the affected individuals and companies were notified of the breach. Number 4, explain actions taken by the government to strengthen the security protocols of its public digital platforms, including eCitizen, to prevent similar breaches in the future. And 5, state whether the Data Protection Commissioner has initiated enforcement actions in response to the data breach, and if so, outline the recommendations that have been made to improve data security. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the distribution of drugs by the Kenya Medical Suppliers Authority, KEMSA, to county public health facilities. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should, 1, table a list of all the drugs manufacturers licensed by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board and drugs procured by KEMSA for resale to county governments. 2, explain how KEMSA track drugs from manufacturers to KEMSA warehouses and onward to county public health facilities, outlining measures put in place to ensure last-mile distribution of the drug to all county public health facilities. Number 3, provide details on the enterprise resource planning software currently in use at KEMSA, disclosing its vendors. Number 4, explain how drugs supplied to KEMSA on credit by suppliers are guaranteed, and how for instances of failure by county government to pay on time are addressed. And finally, number 5, provide information on how KEMSA plans to address the outstanding pending bills without disrupting drug supplies stating whether KEMSA can consider maintaining ownership of drug inventories with the suppliers until they are sold to county government to help address pending bills and ensure that the authority is never left with unsold stocks of drugs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, will allow, before I allow comments on those statements, let me, the majority leader, Senator Boni, are you represent the majority leader? Then proceed to make your statement pursuant to Standing Order 57-1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to represent the Leader of the Majority on the statement by the Senate Majority Leader on the business of the Senate for the week ending, commencing 4th of March 2025, pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1. Mr. Speaker, the legislative business pending before the Senate is as follows. 53 bills, of which 41 are at the second stage reading. 12 are at the committee of the whole. 33 motions are pending conclusion. 24 petitions are pending conclusion, out of which 17 are due for the reporting by the respective standing committees, and 483 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 are pending conclusion. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, 4th March 2025, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider the business for the week. The tentative business for that day will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as the business indicated in the notice paper. Mr. Speaker, the tentative business for the morning sitting of 5th of March, Wednesday, 2025, will include the scheduled questions to Cabinet Secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions. The questions include the following. A, question number 3 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administrative by Honorable Mohammed Chute, MP. Question number 6 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Hamida Kibwana, MP. Question number 12 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator James Murango, MP. Question number 20 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Danson Mungatana, MGH, MP. Question number 21 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Beatrice Ogola, MP. Question number 27 to the Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and National Administration by Senator James Lomenen, MP. Question number 11 to the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection by Senator Catherine Muma, MP. Question number 19 to the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection by Senator James Murango, MP. Question number 15 to the Cabinet Secretary to the National Treasury and Economic Planning by Senator Kaduri Murungi, MGH, MP. And question number 25 to the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning by the Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, CBS, MP. Mr. Speaker, the tentative business for the afternoon sitting on Wednesday, 5th, March 25th, will include business not concluded from the order paper on Tuesday, the 4th, March 2025, and the following businesses. A, bills at the second stage reading. 1, the County Statistics Bill, Senate Bill number 5 of 2024. 2, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2024. 3, the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 27 of 2024, the County Government's State Officers Removal from Office Procedure Bill, Bills number 34 of 2024, the Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of 2024, the Livestock Protection and Sustainability Bill, Senate Bills number 32 of 2024. 7, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 39 of 2024. 8, the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2024. And 9, the Labor, Migration and Management number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2024. There's also the business that is in the Committee of the Whole. This includes the Early Childhood Education Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 54 of 2023, the County Public Finance Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 39 of 2023, the County Government's Elections Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 2 of 2024, the County Assembly Services Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 34 of 2023, the Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood Bill, Senate Bills number 41 of 2023, the Local Content Bill, Senate Bills number 50 of 2023, the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 40 of 2022, and the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53. Mr. Speaker, we also have the business on motions. This includes the report of the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee on the consideration of the audit reports of the county hospitals for financial year 2021-2022. 2, reports of the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee on the consideration of the audit reports of the municipalities for financial years 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. Mr. Speaker, the tentative business for the morning sitting on Wednesday, the 5th March 2025 will include the scheduled questions to Cabinet Secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions. The scheduled questions will include the following. Question number 3 to Cabinet Secretary for Interior Administration by Senator Mohammed Chute, MP. Question number 6 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Administration by Senator Hamida Kibwana, MP. Question number 12 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator James Murango, MP. Question number 20 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Danson Mungatana, MGH, MP. Question number 21 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Beatrice Ogola. Question number 27 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator James Lomenen, MP. Question number 11 to the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection by Senator Catherine Muma, MP. Question number 19 to the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection by Senator James Murago, MP. Question 15 to the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning by Senator Kaduri Murungi, MGH, MP. And question number 25 to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning by the Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, CBS, MP. Mr. Speaker, the tentative business for the afternoon sitting on Wednesday 5th, 2025 will include business not concluded from the order paper for Thursday 4th March 2025 and the following. A. Bills at the second reading stage. 1. The County Statistics Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2024. 2. The Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2024.
Senator Bonnie, you are repeating yourself. You've actually read that particular part of the statement. Unless
Mr. Speaker,
unless you're reading it twice.
Mr. Speaker, you know this is not my document. I'm reading it as prepared by the Leader of the Majority. So please, it is your pleasure to caution the Leader of the Majority not to be repeating himself, Mr. Speaker.
Just approach the clerks.
Mr. Speaker, sir, after consultation with the clerks at the desk, they have offered their apology. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the projected business on Thursday, 6th March 2025 will include business not concluded in the order paper for Wednesday, the 5th March 2025, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you and hereby lay the said statement on the table of the Senate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, with apologies.
So I will allow comments for 15 minutes on the statements that have been sought, starting with Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise in support of the statement by Honorable Senator from Narok. Honorable Speaker, I want to first of all congratulate the current CEO who comes from Marsabit County, Dr. Wako Ejersa, who was just recently now in charge of the KEMSA organization. Honorable Speaker, recently in Marsabit we received drugs worth 45 million, and that is thanks to KEMSA. And I'm really very grateful. But the problem that KEMSA has is tracking of those medicines. What Senator Ledama is trying to bring to the House is from the factory to KEMSA, and from KEMSA to the county headquarters, from the county headquarters to the district hospitals, health centers, and dispensaries. That is where we have a very big problem. And we need to have a situation where from the factory up to the user point, the medicines, the drugs are being monitored, and the issue that is now happening in our counties are drugs are being sold to chemists around town. Honorable Speaker, if you go to hospitals, health centers, and dispensaries in most of the counties, you don't find anything. Even Panadol, you will not get. Basically, what they are doing is monitoring is the biggest problem we are facing in distribution of drugs to our counties. Again, Honorable Speaker, what I would suggest the committee should look at is formation of committees from KEMSA up to the level of dispensaries so that the drugs can be monitored. If the drugs are delivered to a specific institution, the committees should know, verify that this type of drugs are here, and when it is prescribed, they should also look at what was the prescription for the whole week and how much is left in the store. If you don't have this kind of monitoring, Honorable Speaker, then the use of medicine, the supply, is a problem. Honorable Speaker, again, what we need to look at is this. There is a pending bill in terms of billions of shillings, which is supposed to be paid, payable to KEMSA. And I would want the committee, health committee, to ascertain what counties have what pending bills and why do they have those pending bills. If you look at level 4 hospitals, the patients pay for the drugs that are prescribed. So why should we have hospitals not paying or counties not paying their dues to KEMSA? And finally, I think what the committee should look at is the pending bills that were there. They are there for how long? Some are for 3 years, 4 years. Why should it be there? They are supposed to pay and collect their drugs. If they don't pay, how is KEMSA going to manage the outstanding pending bills which are supposed to be paid by the counties? So I think what Senator Lidama is trying to do is monitoring what is happening from the factory up to the end user. And again, he has said something very, very important. You see, the issue of KEMSA having, they normally deliver drugs to destination, to the last mile. If they are delivering to the last mile, somebody at the last mile should know that what has left the factory through KEMSA office has reached to the last mile. That is the monitoring he's asking for. That way, I think value for money will be achieved. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Faki.
Mheshimiwa Spika, asante kwa kunipa fursa hii. Ningependa kuchangia taarifa kuhusiana na mambo ya mahakama ambayo ilikuwa imeletwa bungeni na Seneta Ojenda. Mheshimiwa Spika, kumeingia mtafaruku katika tume ya mahakama kutokana na kesi ambazo zimepelekwa mahakamani na majaji wa mahakama ya upeo kabisa ya Supreme Court ambayo inahusiana na masuala ya hatua za nidhamu ambazo zilikuwa zinachukuliwa na tume ya uajiri wa majaji. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni masikitiko kuwa jaji mkuu pia amekwenda mahakamani kuzuia tume ambayo anaiongoza kuchukua hatua za kinidhamu kuhusiana na madai ambayo yameletwa kwa tume hiyo na baadhi ya mawakili wakuu katika nchi hii yetu ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, si jambo la sawa kwamba kiongozi wa tume anapeleka kesi mbele ya majaji ambao wanaajiriwa na tume. Japokuwa Mheshimiwa Spika, majaji wana uhuru wa kazi, inakuwa si sawa kwa sababu majaji wale wanamwangalia jaji mkuu kama mtu ambaye ni kiongozi wao, na kwa hivyo labda hawezi kutoa amri ambayo itakuwa ni kinyume na yale maombi ambayo jaji mkuu ameweza kuyaomba. Mheshimiwa Spika, masuala haya ni mazito na nafikiri itataka kamati husika yetu ya haki na ya sheria na haki za binadamu kulivalia njuga swala hili kwa haraka, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo litaweza kupunguza imani ya wananchi katika mahakama zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa mtu anatuhuma kwamba jaji fulani ameamua au amepokea hongo ama amefanya mambo kinyume na maadili ya kikazi, ni muhimu masuala hayo yachunguzwe kwa haraka ili uamuzi uweze kupatikana. Itakuwa si sawa jaji yule aendelee kuhudumu, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati tume inaburuta miguu kuweza kusikiza madai yale na aidha kuamuru kwamba hakuna mashtaka ama mashtaka yapo na watoe mapendekezo kwa rais aweze kuweka tume ambayo itaweza kuchunguza jaji yule kwa haraka iwezekanavyo. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, haya masuala ambayo yako sasa yanapunguza imani ya wananchi katika mahakama zetu. Kwa hivyo inafaa yachunguzwe haraka na kamati yetu ya sheria na haki za binadamu ili kuweza kujulikana usawa uko pande gani. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Veronica Maina.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the statement that has been brought to this House by Senator Ledama, seeking some answers to the question of how KEMSA is rolling out its program and provision of drugs that are being used in the counties. Honorable Speaker, time has now come, Honorable Speaker, and I encourage that committee, health committee, that when they are working on this statement, that they ensure that the system that is being run by KEMSA is open and accountable. The procurement process is something that can be explained to Kenyans, starting from the whole supply chain of those drugs, Honorable Speaker, from when KEMSA orders for this, procures for these drugs, up to the time when they are taken to the county and distributed to the health center. It's unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, that the healthcare system, when you go to the counties, you will find many health centers do not have drugs, actually. In fact, it becomes very embarrassing when you go down to those health centers in the villages and you find you cannot, even simple medicine that could assist the citizens is not even available. What is the inventory management system that is being used, Honorable Speaker, by KEMSA? This is something that must be investigated. You were not here yesterday. If you were here, Honorable Speaker, the CS for Health was before this House, and the queries she answered in respect to SHA, many of them were not satisfactorily answered, Honorable Speaker, because starting from the genesis of how contributions are being done, the repayment of the debt that is outstanding, now we have the KEMSA debt which remains unpaid even by counties, and then we have the NHIF, the debt that was accrued by NHIF. Honorable Speaker, if you listen to the deep questions that are coming within the healthcare system, it looks like work is cut out for the health committee as they look at this statement and the question of SHA. Because if the healthcare system fails a nation, then which other system would we say is working properly within our republic? So I would first urge the health committee to ensure that when they return the report on this statement, we can see a whole audit of all the counties. Let us name and shame counties that are not willing to give basic services to wananchi down there. We need to stop answering the same question: why hospitals do not have Panadols, Honorable Speaker? Why hospitals do not have basic emergency care for people who could even be rescued and saved? We are risking the lives of Kenyans. So I want to ask the health committee, when they sit on this, check the inventory, the order management system within KEMSA, ensure that they are presenting a system that is foolproof and one that closes out any form of corruption, so that if we require medication going down to the health centers, we stop having people at the top level diverting funds that are intended to fund healthcare system within our nation. So I support that statement coming from Senator Ledama, and this is a question we must be very serious about, Honorable Speaker. By the time we are done with our tenure, our 5-year tenure, we should be also able to account as a Senate. What have we done to improve that health care? What have we done to improve the water system? What have we done to ensure that basic provisions that are supposed to go to Kenyans are actually delivered to Kenyans without further delay, without further excuses, without further explanations? Let officers who are seated in government offices ensure that you can yourself take accountability for your office and say, during my term of office, I'm not explaining I was asked to do this or to do that. Just get the right thing done and deliver Article 43 to Kenyans. That's what we are looking for. Even the president, that is what he's looking for. He's not looking for workers who are explaining this and that every day. Like if you look at the SHA system, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the SHIF, and the 3 funds that are supposed to come under the new healthcare system, we need those issues fixed. If it's a debt that needs to be restructured in NHIF, let it be restructured. But all Kenyans want to do, they don't care what you do with the systems, with the processes, how you review the workforce, how you review the human resource capital. All they care for is an adequate service delivery that renders service to Mwananchi. Honorable Speaker, many of us were raised in situations where we only went to government hospitals. We never saw private hospitals until we were this age, when we have now seen the Aga Khan, the Nairobi Hospital. All of us have gone through those level 2, level 1, level what? The public institutions, and those institutions must be made to work. And it is our work as oversighters to ensure that they work. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Eddy.
Mr. Speaker, you know, in the private sector is where we always see serious innovation going, to the extent that that kind of innovation, when you see it in the legislative houses like where we are, you get very proud, especially when you come from a tech background that I come from. I get really happy when I see a legislature like what Senator Ledama Lekina has proposed here, a brilliant idea to deal with a serious crisis that we have in this nation, the management and the delivery of drugs to our people. Mr. Speaker, the way KEMSA currently works is very simple, but very inefficient and ineffective. Currently, KEMSA has got contract with manufacturers of drugs and pharmaceuticals companies. Then KEMSA buys drugs from these pharmaceutical companies on credit. Usually, the terms of the credit that they get from these pharmaceutical companies range between 90 to 120 days. Once KEMSA has bought these drugs from these companies on credit, then KEMSA sells those drugs to county governments as well as national institutions such as the referral hospitals that we have in the country, also on credit. And that credit for KEMSA, it is dependent upon the exchequer releases that we have. And now, Mr. Speaker, you know very well that exchequer problems in this country sometimes span beyond the gap that you have of 90 to 120 days. We have seen sometimes delays of funds going to even 6 months when people have not been paid, to the extent that some government, county governments receive their monies when they're just in time to close a financial year, to the extent that even absorption becomes a problem. This is a problem because then it means 2 things, Mr. Speaker. Number one, it means that once KEMSA has bought those drugs from the manufacturers, it takes the ownership of those drugs, to the extent that if a drug is going to expire, and sometimes even some medical equipment like what we saw with masks during the COVID period, if those medical facilities and medical drugs are going to expire, they expire under the ownership of KEMSA, not under the ownership of the manufacturers or the pharmaceutical companies. Then what will force KEMSA to do in a marketplace? What is going to happen is that KEMSA will then take those nearly expiring drugs and nearly expiring equipment and then donate them to different county governments because they tend to de-risk their portfolio. So what is Senator Ledama proposing here? Senator Ledama is proposing that through this enterprise resource planning software, which I don't believe that KEMSA has currently, and that should actually be something that Senator Ledama actually should sit in that committee and propose strongly. What you're going to do is that you create a marketplace, and then KEMSA now becomes a marketplace where they have got a warehouse where you can actually just store drugs and list the drugs that manufacturers have. Once you list them, manufacturers then take the ownership of these drugs, and KEMSA only facilitates the transactions on that platform. What this will help with, Mr. Speaker, is that, number one, you will take the ownership of drugs from KEMSA, so that ownership lies with the manufacturer, so that any kind of risk and liabilities, both for credit as well as expiration of drugs and medical equipment, do not sit on KEMSA. But most importantly, you give an avenue of such an innovative fund as SHA now to facilitate counties to acquire those drugs on that platform. Because now, what will happen is that SHA, which is already a fund, an authority that establishes a fund, can now fund counties directly, so that hospitals can simply go to this marketplace that Senator Ledama is creating for us as a country, and then choose the panadol that you need, choose the medicine that you need, and then the payment is facilitated on that platform, just as you'll do with M-Pesa in this country, Mr. Speaker, in other businesses that we have seen. So this is a very brilliant idea, Mr. Speaker, that I think that above just the idea of facilitating a proper transaction that avoids risks, it also ensures that there's now audit trail, that you can now be able to audit and track drugs from where they come from manufacturer, goes all the way to the hospitals. This is one of the most brilliant ideas that has come from this house, Mr. Speaker, that I want to encourage the committee, that they take it seriously and let us as a house follow it through and see it come to fruition, so that one day we can have a country where we say that the access to drugs is no longer a problem because it was solved on the basis of innovation that came from this house. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to contribute on the statement by Honorable Chute, my neighbor, on the Kalasa issue. Honorable Speaker, the Kalasa issue, is a disease actually was caused by, it's actually called, another name is the black fever. It has a very high fever like malaria, and it's one of the deadliest diseases actually that is actually recently found. Kalasa actually has occurred in Kenya, I think not more than 15 years ago. And it has not up to now been controlled, and it's caused by biting flies, especially dry times, when the areas are dry and there's a lot of scarcity, there's also deforestation. These flies spread very fast, and mostly it affects the young children. Honorable Speaker, the disease is actually a very stubborn disease that people, the malnourished kids mostly, and people affected by HIV/AIDS cannot be able to tolerate it. But the problem is actually controlling system is actually very poor in Kenya, and the only thing we do is that we need to control it, because actually it's a recent development, because it came all the way from our border lines like Somalia and Ethiopia. It has not been there for a long time in Kenya. And I think the best thing is to control this disease so that it doesn't spread towards the other part of the country. It's now in the northern part, and there's a need to at least control it and use all measures to have this disease controlled. Otherwise, it is a very dangerous, like malaria, and worse than malaria at times. On the same breath, Honorable Speaker, I want also to contribute to Senator Olekina's statement. Honorable Speaker, KEMSA actually is doing a very wonderful job, and it's able to supply this country medicine in the far-fetched areas. It delivers up to the last mile. But however, it lacks a proper tracking system. The drugs have been loaded from Nairobi all the way up to the dispensaries and health centers, far-fetched areas. It is not inspected, and it's not actually even the counties don't even have control out of it, because they give orders, and at times, since it's delivered up to the end, the last mile areas, sometimes they deliver even the wrong drugs to those places. And therefore, it's a high time that KEMSA should be able to be seen, to be oversighted, and be able to get the rightful drugs. And the counties should also take responsibility for these drugs, because most of the times, these drugs, most of them are not branded. And you see here, sometimes these drugs end up in the private hospitals and the private pharmacies, and therefore, the counties are losing a lot of drugs as a result of theft. And therefore, what we need to do is that as senators, we also need to follow up these issues and see to it that these drugs are delivered appropriately, and KEMSA should give out or engage some drug inspectors so at least they can know how much of the drug reaches the people. Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Kenya.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to support two statements. One, the one by Senator Chute and the one by the Minority Whip, Senator Olekina. Honorable Speaker, if there's an outbreak, as is indicated by Senator Chute, it is an issue that should be addressed as quickly as possible. Honorable Speaker, in the past we have seen how such diseases ravage our populations. By the description given by Senator Chute, it is a disease that causes a lot of damage to internal organs, Honorable Speaker, and so I support the fact that there must be an urgent action towards addressing that, not only in Marsabit, Honorable Speaker, but the Public Health Directorate must go ahead to safeguard even other counties that surround Marsabit, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I now support the statement by Senator Olekina. Honorable Speaker, health is so crucial to our populations. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, every person in the world, if not in this country, is entitled to good health and well-being, Honorable Speaker. And so any actions or activities by KEMSA as a distributor of drugs to our health facilities must be something that we as a House and everybody else must pay attention to. All we are asking for is that KEMSA needs to increase its efficiencies so that our people get drugs in time and on need, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm more concerned about this because health and women are so related, Honorable Speaker, that issues that touch on health, touch on children, and touch on women more because of the kind of attention that women have with their children and the general households. Honorable Speaker, it is a common occurrence that in our health centers, a number of times there are shortage of drugs. And as a House, we are really concerned that our people should go to hospitals and then because of inefficiencies or lack of clear administration of the distribution of drugs, our people are always running to chemists or to commercial outfits to secure drugs, Honorable Speaker. And so I support this, that KEMSA and the county governments must work on an efficient and effective way that would lead to availability of drugs in our hospitals. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to laud Senator Chute. This is a very sad occurrence. As a medical expert, I can confirm to the nation that the breakout of Kalaza is a symptom of a failed state. Kalaza, otherwise called black fever, Mr. Speaker, or leishmaniasis, is a tropical illness that occurs where the health system has collapsed. In Africa, you find it in South Sudan and in the Sudan. How did Kenya find itself where it is now being compared to South Sudan? Mr. Speaker, this disease is so lethal that out of 20 people infected, if not rapidly attacked, 19 of them die. That is what we are leaving the people of Marsabit to undergo. Mr. Speaker, I therefore want to inform the ministry that we know these things. In fact, in the year 2020, Mr. Speaker, a vaccine against Kala-Azar was developed and approved by the WHO. The licensing of this vaccine has not taken place in Kenya because of busybodies, either they want to be bribed before they can license and what have you. Let this vaccine be licensed in this country and be applied. And what is more, the Kenya Kwanza government has been very successful on the issue of primary health care through the stipend being paid to community health promoters. This is a disease that can actually be cleared by that level of intervention, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what do I mean? All that the CPIs are supposed to tell the patients is that cover yourself with a piece of cloth, including a long one, because the vectors that transmit these parasites are sandflies. The CPIs can actually, with the support of the ministry, and this is why I'm talking of a failed state, can actually just spray. You spray the sandflies and they go away. And Mr. Speaker, you can use minimal cost to ensure that people sleep in protected bedrooms, and where you don't have high-tech bedrooms like nets.
What is your point of order, Senator Mandago?
Honorable Speaker, I didn't wish to disrupt Senator Boli Alwale, who is a medical expert. But I've been debating understatement of facts. Whether really the spread of Kala-Azar is in Marsabit is a symbol of a failed state or a failed county, considering that the function of health, largely for that function, is devolved. Maybe some clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Speaker, indeed the chairman of health is right. I should swallow my words on failed state and say a failed county compared to failed states like South Sudan and Sudan. And I'm very professional on this matter and authoritative, because these sandflies, once they bite the patient, the black fever parasites then target the spleen and target the liver. Mr. Speaker, you cannot find spleen transplant or liver transplant anywhere in this country. It therefore means once your liver is gone, your spleen is gone, you are a dead man. I'm therefore not surprised that sometimes we get a lot of anger from the people who come from the so-called, the former Northern Frontier districts. It is because of this treatment. And the governor of Marsabit, Senator Mandago, you should summon this boss. They tell us where they take the money that is budgeted for health. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether it is true, I don't want to be challenged, but on the grapevine here in the streets, we are being told that some of these high-rise flats that are coming up, they are properties of governors. It is? Yes, this is what I'm hearing. So they are taking money, coming to invest in Eastleigh, coming to invest in South Sea. Mr. Speaker, we refuse. Our people deserve this treatment. And Mr. Speaker, let me go to KEMSA. KEMSA, I think the people in charge at KEMSA are not competent, because the drugs and the policy for stocking at KEMSA deliberately ensures that drugs against tropical illnesses like malaria, like Kala-Azar, like tuberculosis are readily available. I know for a fact that when I was practicing medicine actively, you would go to KEMSA And the drug, the primary drug, which is very cheap, called amphotericin, was there in KEMSA. So if they are not stocking it, it means the blocks who have been given that job are not competent. We should stop the culture of people who have lost elections to be in charge of critical institutions like KEMSA and allow doctors and nurses to be the ones to be in charge of those places, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Ledama Olakino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Briefly, Mr. Speaker, let me appreciate Senator Chute for really bringing a very important statement. A statement that the last time I heard of black fever was looking at countries like India. You know, that's actually where it originates from. And this disease is predominant in areas where there is no health care. Poor nutrition, poor housing. So what is that telling us, Mr. Speaker? We sit here, I'm a member of the Health Committee, my chairman is right here, the distinguished senator from Uasin Gishu County, and we push for money to go to county governments. So why are our people still poor in the 21st century? Why do we have, malnutrition? You know, when you have the black fever, your cough doesn't end, and when you get any small disease, you die. So really, this statement is very, very important. It is important because it now awakens us as a Senate to be able to follow through this money that we are sending to these counties. Senator, the majority whip has clearly indicated this money is being diverted. It's being diverted to other things. Really, we're talking about affordable housing. Affordable housing now should be to those poor areas where they have poor housing facilities. Because when you have those poor housing facilities, this parasite, which really spread heavily because of the dust, easily kills everyone. So what is happening in our northern counties will not stop there, because this parasite thrives in tropical environments. So it will come to Mombasa, it will go to Narok, it will go to Machakos, it will go everywhere. So we must take this very seriously. We cannot have our population dying because of black fever in the 21st century. Mr. Speaker, some of us subscribe to political parties that for many years have been really supporting poor economies. But now, looking forward, I want my political party to be able to bring economic, emancipation of our people. Our people must be emancipated from this poverty. Because that poverty, Mr. Speaker, this Kalazar, black fever, will be in Kilifi soon. Is that what we really want for our counties? So, Mr. Speaker, I support Senator Chute, and I want to assure him that as a member of the Health Committee, and my chair is here, we will investigate that. We will go and look at all the health facilities in Marsabit. When we look at them, we do a proper audit trail of the money. Because if they have this, listen, before the US now says USAID is taking their money, before DFID sends a statement and say we are taking our money. Because you know what is at risk, and this is what we're discussing this morning when we are considering the budget policy statement, is the additional allocation revenue, which normally goes to support these hospitals. Before that, these hospitals, these counties were getting a lot of money. They were getting a lot of money to improve their health facilities. This House passed a law where instead of each county developing its own, its own fund to be able to use ONSO's revenue, we came up with a law that now allows all counties to be able to use a revolving fund, ONSO's revenue, to improve those hospitals. So this statement, Mr. Speaker, it's one of those statements which I actually say, what Chute should have done is to seek for an ad hoc committee working closely with the Health Committee to be able to comprise of many senators so that we resolve that problem. Because I remember, and the majority whip has always told me this, prevention is better than cure. So if we don't attack this black fever and we follow all the symptoms and we stop it very soon, all of us will be standing here and saying we just lost a relative because of black fever. Let's not wait for that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First, let me thank Senator Boni Halwale, the Senator for Kakamega, for actually educating the nation on the effects of Kalasai if it goes unchecked. Honorable Speaker, I wish to agree with my colleague Senator Ledama that county governments must really apply the money where it matters most. And you would expect that the governor for Marsabit, as we speak today, should have actually moved in a state of emergency to make sure that he initiates prevention program so that the population in Marsabit is not further exposed to the risks that have been said. Honorable Speaker, I'm also happy to note that part of the prevention of this disease is through proper housing, and the government is rolling out an affordable housing program. And Senator Chute, the senator for Marsabit, contributed immensely in his Committee of Housing and Lands about affordable housing in the rural areas. And we want to thank Senator for that. I think that was foresight and is part of what is going to prevent this. Honorable Speaker, let me also comment on the statement of Senator Ledama on the issue of KEMSA and distribution of drugs, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, part of the challenges that we have seen in the past with KEMSA is the process of repackaging the drugs when they are being sent to counties after counties make requisition. Honorable Speaker, that process of repackaging has resulted into some loss of certain quantities of drugs. The other challenge that we have and we've seen in KEMSA, Honorable Speaker, and it emanates from counties and the staff in the health sector, Honorable Speaker, is requisitioning of drugs that can only be prescribed by consultants, by health workers who work in level 1, level 2. And the current structure of distribution, Honorable Speaker, leaves room for pilferage of these drugs, because when KEMSA sends the drugs directly to health facilities, and that health facility has requisitioned the drugs that are supposed to be prescribed by consultants, and a number of times those drugs are very expensive drugs, Honorable Speaker, those drugs don't end in those facilities. They are repackaged somewhere in the middle here, and counties lose money. Number two, Honorable Speaker, I find a problem with that kind of distribution because our procurement laws require that for every procurement, there should be an inspection and acceptance committee that inspects to ensure we have the right quantity, we have the right quality, and we have what was ordered. The current arrangement is such that that committee has been rendered useless because it's only the health workers in the facilities that receive the drugs, therefore creating uncertainty in the quantity, quality, and value for money in the counties. And I will give an example, Honorable Speaker. In my county, when I served as a governor, when we got a new CEC, Honorable Speaker, she looked at the budget we had for health. We had already served for 5 years, and we used to have challenges of lack of drugs in our facilities. And we had budgeted for 200 million per year for county government of Uasin Gishu. And the CC said, this money is more than enough. We don't have a sick population in Uasin Gishu. But we said, but there's a problem of drugs not being available in hospitals. When we changed the system from distributing direct to our health facilities to receiving the drugs at the county headquarters, I can tell you, Honorable Speaker, day one there was a standoff between KEMSA, the logistics fellow who was supplying the drugs, and the staff in the county. They didn't want the drugs to be inspected. Only to discover that a consignment we had ordered for about 70 million, what we were receiving was worth just about 30 million. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, even as KEMSA thinks of how drugs are going to be distributed across the country, there must be mechanisms of making sure that the acceptance and inspection committees are in place, even if it means at the facility level. Honorable Speaker, the ERP system that KEMSA sought to acquire, last time they came before our Committee of Health and they informed us that they are in the process of acquiring an ERP system. My problem with the ERP system that KEMSA wants to acquire is the cost. When KEMSA says we want to acquire an ERP system at a cost of 1 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, some of us have been fortunate to work in the ICT sector, and we know 1 billion can buy probably another 4 ERP systems. I think there's a problem of costing of IT systems in government, and probably because the sector is highly technical and probably we have very few experts, this cost of knowledge of IT seems to be becoming very expensive at the expense of the actual software that is required. I want to urge KEMSA board and management to ensure that they are effective in their costs, they are cost effective, and make sure that every little saving that is available in KEMSA actually goes to drugs, goes to equipment, goes to non-pharmaceuticals that are key in delivering UHC, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I support the statement by Senator Ledama and Senator Chute that there is need for us as a Senate committee, and not just as a Senate committee, Honorable Speaker. We had even requested as a committee that we would wish that the committee of the whole can be involved in this process of checking what counties. But I want to assure Senator Chute that definitely we are going to invite the governor for Marsabit, but not only invite, we are going to visit Marsabit as a committee to ascertain the status of well facilities in that county, alongside other difficult counties like Isiolo, of course, where governors have decided that they are not answerable to anybody, but we shall remind them that it is their constitutional duty and it is our constitutional responsibility to oversight. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity also to support statements by both senators. Mr. Speaker, I think we have to be serious and candidly tell each other that we have failed as a country as far as health services is concerned. Yesterday I was not in the House, but I saw the way the CS was struggling to answer a question on SHA, which meant almost nothing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans are really suffering as far as healthcare service is concerned. We are talking about KEMSA delivery to the county referral hospitals. Mr. Speaker, if you go to those counties and you look at the shelves, the only drugs you can find there are the drugs that are not even required by the patients, the drugs that are not supposed even to move. Those are the only drugs that we find on the shelves of those hospitals, Mr. Speaker. And I think, Mr. Speaker, as a Senate, we always talk about committees doing this, doing that. But I think Senator Mandago, having actually interacted with your committee where the governor for Isiolo has taken your committee to court, I know you have a budget for local travel or domestic travel. You need to visit those hospitals within the counties. And your committee should make a commitment, now that we don't have international travels, they should visit the critical hospitals that we have in this country. Mr. Speaker, the other day I went to a Isiolo hospital where a body was left to lie there from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Just simply they didn't have gloves. You can imagine the hospital officials and the governor saying the body was brought to casualty. How can a body be brought to casualty? Why would a body be received at the casualty? Which law did they apply? Because the bodies are received at the mortuary. And of course, I know very well the mortuary for Isiolo is not working. But for a body to lie there from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., and somebody is arguing, Fatuma is the one who has brought that body there. Surely, should I carry the body on my back and bring it to the casualty? Can you imagine? In that casualty room, there are even kids in the next bed who are crying, who are unconscious, and the body is just lying there. We have said over the years, Mr. Speaker, that the national headquarters of Ministry of Health should be in control of the standard of the hospitals within our counties. And that is not happening. Mr. Speaker, you walk to the Ministry of Health and complain about certain issues within our counties. It's like the headquarters, they are fearing the governors. What they tell you is that, oh, governors will say we are interfering with the running of the hospitals. Surely, where do we run to as Kenyans? because there are no drugs, there are no service delivery. Yesterday, you can imagine a lady from a place called Oldonyiro in Isiolo. She traveled over 100 kilometers to go and get service delivery in Isiolo County Referral Hospital. She's told there are no drugs. I had to send money, 3,000, to buy her drugs in Isiolo. How many other patients are suffering? How many other patients who don't have anybody to run to are suffering? Our hospitals are actually in pathetic situation. Leave alone county referral, the dispensaries, the sub-county hospitals. There are no actually deliveries that are actually safe. Women are suffering. They don't even get reproductive rights. Mr. Speaker, something needs to be done in this country. And I request Senator Mandago, you are listening to me. I know you have a budget for domestic travel. Can you sample the counties that have problems? Please visit those counties and ensure that you have put them actually on accountability. Mr. Speaker, we cannot sit here every day talk about these and that are not happening in our counties. Something must be done. Somebody should be held accountable. You can imagine pending bills are not even being paid. And yet, if you look at the budget of counties, you will see that the health department is the one that is taking the chunk of the budget allocated to the counties. But those counties, they don't even use that money. They don't even know where it goes. They don't know even where the drugs are even procured. Even the chief officers, the procurement department, they don't know how procuring those things are being done. We blame here KEMSA, but sometimes you will find that they are even buying drugs across the counter. Most of the counties. Mr. Speaker, we have to have a serious conversation as far as healthcare services is concerned in this country. Because as Senator Veronica was saying, most of us, we went to government hospitals when we were young, and even at early age in our lives. But today, you can't find anything in those hospitals. No syringes, no Panadols, no antibiotics. They are not there. And yet, budget is being, we are fighting always here to allocate money to the counties. Mr. Speaker, I think we have to have a serious conversation as far as service delivery is concerned in the health sector. And I hope Senator Mandago and the committee will take a lead in this to ensure that there is sanity in healthcare services in our counties. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wafula.
Speaker, that in the US, for over 20 years now, there's no single time when the courts have agreed to preside over any matter taken either by the House of Reps against the Senate or vice versa. More than 20 years. Every time the courts have been asked to preside over any matter between these two, the courts have said, no, these are your matters, deal with them. So, Speaker, in 2013, when the first Senate was inaugurated, so many people ran for senator, only to come to Senate and realize that this is not what they wanted to do. And that's why you saw most of them now run for governor. It's because people who run for Senate never understand what the role of Senate is. Most of them, Mr. Speaker. Most of them don't. And that's why they come in and within 2-3 years, they either want to do National Assembly work or they want to be governors. So I think, Mr. Speaker, we need to also do civic education so that those who run for Senate know what they're going into. They should not come to Senate, then realize that, oh, it's only about counties, not about the whole country and all these things. I think we have an issue there that causes problems whenever senators come in and they realize that their job is limited to this particular issue. Mr. Speaker, personally, I've been very impressed by the way you've handled the issue of Senate since you became Speaker. you've tried to steer this House toward that direction. That let's not bash Senate, let's not talk to them as if they are not our brothers. But at some point in terms of Speaker, you will have to put your foot down and say that this is where we draw the line. We will not allow Senate to keep on belittling this House every time in their chambers, Mr. Speaker. It's nauseating. We can't have every single week Senate bashing this Assembly as if there's something we've done to them. Nothing. Mr. Speaker, I want to request you to sit down with your colleague on the other side and let's have some decorum. Let's have a way of dealing, because we are all adults. We all work within the law. It can't go on ad infinitum. That personally, Mr. Speaker, you've appointed me now twice to a committee called Mediation Committee. And whenever you go there, Mr. Speaker, we deal with very mundane issues. Issues of ego. Issues of who is big and who is small. Not law, Mr. Speaker. And unless this is sorted out through maybe amendment of Constitution, Mr. Speaker, it will rely upon you as our Speaker to guide us. But I want to implore upon the senators that know your limits, know what the rule says about you as Senate, so that we don't get in confusion every now and then, Mr. Speaker. I beg.
I'll give you direction in due course on this issue, either next week or week after. I've closed that, my club. Honorable members, I want to acknowledge in the Speaker's gallery Michinda Boys Secondary School from Molo, Nakuru. In the public gallery, Voice of Kibra students from Kibra, Nairobi. Mailwa Comprehensive School from Kajiado Central, Kajiado. And Mitoone Day Secondary School from Buri, East Meru. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome all the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 8, the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, second reading question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. The unlawful Kamukunji there, disband and take your seats. Is that a member for... That's not Coimbra, is it? No. Honourable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023 be now read a second time. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the establishment, composition, functions and management of the Gold Processing Corporation, provide for the application, cancellation and renewal of a gold processing license and for connected purposes. Order number 9, the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2024, second reading, resumption of debate.
At order number 9, resumption of debate, records show Honorable Mulanya is in the House. He had 9 minutes to go. He's not in the House. He forfeits his slot. Beatrice Elachi, are you queuing for the police bill?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this amendment bill on the National Police Commission. Mr. Speaker, when I look at what Honorable Masara has done, and I want to thank him, is to now look at the mental health of the police that we are having. And in his memorandum of objects and reasons, he says that the bill recognizes that in the execution of their tasks, police officers work in potentially confusing roles, alternating between law enforcement and public service. And Mr. Speaker, I want to pick the issue of public service. You see, sometimes I know we have really vilified this sector, and especially anyone who asks for a job to be a police officer. And all over the world, if there is a sector that is respected so much, is what and the work that our police officers do every day. And Mr. Speaker, you find sometimes it's very sad the way sometimes we treat our police. Yes, I know individually you'll find others with a lot of challenges, definitely in terms of how they deal with issues. But that does not mean that now we look at the sector and demonize it until we wonder whether these are our brothers, our sisters, and they are the ones who have taken these jobs. They come from our families. And so today, as we talk about mental health, I think they are the most affected in this sector. I know they have challenges of even their salaries. They are the salaried civil servants who I know today are also struggling in the issues that we have, based also teachers. But one thing that I'll remember is the former CS of gender, Margaret Kobia. Margaret Kobia had started a very good program post-COVID to ensure all civil servants will have a place where they can go when they are stressed in a wellness unit. And she started this unit. And I'm hoping in civil service today, this unit is functional, because it was supposed to help every civil servant that has a challenge, that feels stressed, to go and talk to someone just to have their counseling. And that's what the police also needs, Mr. Speaker. And also, Mr. Speaker, today I know there are many other challenges. You see, when you say you have a force that takes care of us, and you find even getting uniforms is a challenge, just getting their boots is a challenge, just ensuring that today I wonder whether they have an insurance cover for themselves and families. You wonder whether the work they do we appreciate. It's a very, very sad scenario when you look at this sector. And so as he does this amendment, Mr. Speaker, one of the things that we need to really push, even as the National Assembly, is to ensure the environment each police officer is working in is an environment that can be better. I want to thank the Deputy DIG when he was acting, Mr. Speaker. Masengeli was able to try even just to build the promotions. And you would see all of them now getting excited and saying they would wish to work, because he came in and started. And Kanja has also picked it. They are really trying to see how do we promote officers who came in 10 years, 15 years, and they've never seen a promotion. I would encourage them to continue doing that. But the other thing we need to help in assisting also, even as we talk about this, is their welfare. Today, I'll give you an example, Mr. Speaker. The officers, and I'm just saying as an example, the officers who man State House Gate, for example, remember they are GSUs. And I know they have challenges. And I want to plead even with the controller, that State House controller, to just look at it, look at their children, look at the challenges they are facing in terms of, we have many young children and many young students who live inside State House. But I know they don't know this other side because their fathers are the officers of government. But they can also receive bursaries wherever they are. They are in my constituency, and I feel they deserve to get bursaries. They deserve to get that presidential bursary. And they deserve also, when they go out, to be paid their night outs and on time. I know I'm not just talking about them now, I'm talking of all that sector. Most of them find it very difficult to get even their night outs in time. And so if we want to see even this civil service coming back and working hard to see a better Kenya, then we must also always have a good way of doing the incentives. So those are some of the things that bring in also these stresses. Honorable Masara is also talking about how the Oversight Authority of the National Commission on Human Rights, the Director of Public Prosecution, or the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, as a case may be, where necessary. The same way, for me, if I'm asked today, the same way the military has its martial courts, why can't we have a martial courts for some of these officers? Mr. Speaker, you realize sometimes in the environment they are working and you are caught up on exchange of fire, and you are dealing with also people, let us agree, that who are on very high crime also. And so it is important to deal with them, knowing they have been going through a very stressful way of doing these things. And when they find themselves maybe in a situation like that and they are called by IPOA or whatever, let them be given an environment to explain themselves. I would tell you, Mr. Speaker, you find some of the officers were there protecting lives, but today they have lost their jobs because they protected lives somewhere. And because they don't have that opportunity to come back and get an appeal, to just explain themselves, even if he's going home, let him go home with dignity, having explained and had himself, as Article 50 of the Constitution says. You find, Mr. Speaker, there are some who are very stressed, especially, you remember when you come out of the force from the training, the first places you are taken is in the volatile areas. So you're taken to, let's say, on the borders of Mandera, on the borders of Tana River, where there's very, very high terrorism and all that. And some years ago, you remember, Mr. Speaker, we lost very young officers who had just come from the training and had just entered into Tana River, and all of them were killed by terrorists there. And today we have others who have stayed in those areas even more than 7 to 8 years, Mr. Speaker. They are just begging. We have done our part. We've been here ever since I came out of training. I am here. That person is stressed, needs a place where psychologically can just be supported. And then I am pleading also with the force and the commission. Why we brought in a commission, we thought it will take better care to this force than the days it was without a commission. But then now, when you look at it, Mr. Speaker, I think they're even wondering why they really had the commission now. Because most of their issues are the issues that they are going through, a lot of things. In that balancing and all these things of you balance the promotions, balance the appointments, knowing very well this was a force that one was always on the GSU side and the other one was the police itself. Now we've merged them together, Mr. Speaker. But yeah, there's still competition, intra-competition inside there. And many others, the lower ones are really suffering on that. So as we look at it, and it is something that Masara is also talking about, that let us try and see if we can promote the values of principle referred to in Article 10 and 232. Mr. Speaker, even today, if we had better forces, today we would be having better values in our Constitution. With those few remarks, I beg to support Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable James Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I rise to support this bill, Mr. Speaker. The bill on the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill of 2024, whose objective, Mr. Speaker, is to provide for mental wellness and mental well-being of police officers. Mr. Speaker, the issue of mental health among security officers, particularly police officers, is now an acknowledged fact that there is a problem. And this fact has been borne out by what we experience very often. The number of suicides we read in the newspapers that are publicized, the number of homicides, the number of officers that killed their seniors are publicized every day. And those that we read in the papers, Mr. Speaker, are probably just a tip of the iceberg. If some go to the extent that actually they kill themselves and kill their officers, or do both, what is happening to those who are actually suffering silently? What is happening to their families? Because if people are affected mentally, obviously their families suffer. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that needs to be addressed, and therefore this bill comes at the right moment. Mr. Speaker, it is not only the officers that suffer, nor is it their families only that suffer, but Mr. Speaker, the public that they interact with. Mr. Speaker, the handling of people who come into contact with the police is important. Although it is not documented of what happens quietly, but we know sometimes the brutality that the police officers met out. And we may start to think that probably that is how police officers are. But Mr. Speaker, this may be just an expression of mental illness that is not looked at. Because sometimes it looks pathological what they do, and we blame them. But we do not realize that these people may actually be in need of help. It's therefore possible that a number of officers are operating well, actually are unwell and in need of mental treatment. Mr. Speaker, we ask ourselves, why is it so that we have officers that we have come to suspect are not well? We just think of some conditions, but they have not really actually been documented. That has not been taken. The magnitude of the problem not been brought out. Mr. Speaker, this bill, if implemented as proposed, may actually address these issues. What is probably obvious, what may be obvious to us, do we do character suitability before we get the police officers into recruitment and into training? And what is the curriculum of their training to protect them from the nature of work that they do? If you look at their working conditions, Mr. Speaker, they work long hours. They work in different conditions. Mr. Speaker, they are actually faced with horrendous circumstances. What they go through, they are often in a life and a death situation. People cannot remain mentally well if every time they are out in operations, their life is in danger. Mr. Speaker, the high tension that they face all the times, the physical trauma that they are actually faced with. Mr. Speaker, we know instances where whole troops of police officers have actually been eliminated. What happens to those who survive? Do they remain well? Mr. Speaker, even what they witness when we call them to crime scenes, they find mutilated bodies. Mr. Speaker, do they remain well? Do they get counseling? Do we do psychoanalysis of what the effect of this are? So this psychological trauma they suffer through is something we need to really look into. The result, Mr. Speaker, is I believe that a lot of our officers are actually working when they actually have severe depression that expresses itself in what we see like homicide or suicide. Now, post-traumatic stress disorder, Mr. Speaker, anybody who is exposed to extreme horrendous conditions, they suffer and they need to be looked after, they need care. Are these available to our officers as it is now? So, Mr. Speaker, I won't be surprised if amongst police officers, you probably have higher incidence of even physical illnesses like high blood pressure. They can develop personality disorders like emotional numbness, psychopathic tendencies, and we'll just blame them without actually realizing that they need care. On top of that, the pay that they get, there's always been an issue of the pay that the police officers get, the houses that they live in. And Mr. Speaker, I'm quite sure that there are no systems that are in place to actually look after them in these concepts. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. The creation, the establishment of psychosocial units and formulation of programs to promote the mental health and well-being of police officers as proposed in Clause 3 is something that actually we must support. To provide them with mental health and wellness resources. I mean, they get well. And you know, mental illness is probably one of the most difficult health conditions to address and most expensive, and tends to be chronic once it sets in. Do they have appropriate health facilities that look after that? I know there is a hostel that has been put up for the police officers, but we just see a new building. It has not even been operationalized. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the need, as it's been put in this bill, that every county should establish a well-equipped centers or offices or camps or in training colleges that deal with this matter is also something I will support. So in all, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill, and I think all our colleagues should support it. And it's not only support it and so that it becomes part of what is available in our legal system, but actually provide the funds that actually look after them, starting with their working conditions, their pay, the psychosocial support, the treatment that they get. It will all need funds, and actually this should provide the basis of that funding. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Let's have the Honorable Paul Murigi, and then if you want to speak on this.
Yes,
and
Mr.
then
Speaker.
Farah Mohammed follow.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me opportunity to speak on this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is a well thought out bill, Mr. Speaker, to establish a psychosocial support center so that we can maintain the mental wellness of our officers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill is trying to curb wastage of resources or wastage of the government resources of recovering or of maybe doing the litigation which are done or the damages which are done by the officers when they are not in good mind, Mr. Speaker. If these centers will be established in every county, our officers, Mr. Speaker, will get a good place where they can go and refresh their minds, Mr. Speaker, and go back to their working station, Mr. Speaker, well fresh, Mr. Speaker. Since when the officers, Mr. Speaker, are not in the right mind, Mr. Speaker, they would do something which may tend to seem as if those officers are not in right mind, Mr. Speaker. And many people start accusing them that, Mr. Speaker, they are using excessive force, Mr. Speaker, whereas they are suffering from stress. So if these centers will be there, Mr. Speaker, will help the officers to reduce those stress, Mr. Speaker, and motivate them to do their work even more better, Mr. Speaker. These centers also, Mr. Speaker, will reduce the cases of suicide, Mr. Speaker, cases which we have encountered from many police officers, Mr. Speaker, where they take their own lives, Mr. Speaker, where they even massacre the people they are supposed to protect, Mr. Speaker, because of the stress which they normally come across. But through these centers, Mr. Speaker, where the counselors will be provided by the government, Mr. Speaker, our police officers will work without causing unnecessary things, Mr. Speaker. Also, Mr. Speaker, through the counseling, it will improve the morale of the police officers to work for this republic, Mr. Speaker. Since if you are demotivated, working would be very difficult for one to do. But if someone is motivated through that counseling, Mr. Speaker, the officers will be even more productive in their work, Mr. Speaker. So this is one of the best bills, Mr. Speaker, which will help this country to save on most resources, Mr. Speaker, because the proposed amount to build these centers, Mr. Speaker, is only 950 million, Mr. Speaker. This 950 million, Mr. Speaker, is just a drop in our ocean, Mr. Speaker, since the government is spending a lot of money in defending those cases or the cases which have been done by the officers or the stressed officers to defend them in the court, Mr. Speaker. But if we have these centers, they will help us, Mr. Speaker, to save some resources. Mr. Speaker, also, this will put Kenya in the realm of Africa, Mr. Speaker, whereby we will be having the best practice within Africa, Mr. Speaker. Because internationally, Mr. Speaker, we have seen in Canada, in the United States, and even United Kingdom, Mr. Speaker, they have these centers, Mr. Speaker, where their officers, Mr. Speaker, are counseled. They are oriented with what is happening, Mr. Speaker. They are refreshed even after encountering those crimes, Mr. Speaker, or the terrorists, Mr. Speaker, or even the family matters, Mr. Speaker, whereby they are counseled and then they go back to their normal stations, Mr. Speaker, of working. So Kenya will be one of the best countries within this African region, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this bill. Thank you.
Very well. The Honorable Farah Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I weigh in on this issue as a son of a policeman. Mr. Speaker, I grew up in police lines. My father was recruited into the colonial police force in 1956, and I grew up in police lines. Mr. Speaker, I visit very often the house where we grew up. My father, my late sister, and my other two brothers. And it's the same room in Garissa administration police lines, which was occupied by one family. We were living in one room. The room was both a kitchen, a bedroom, and our sitting room, my study room, everything. And my dad used to spend most of the nights outside there, where Amat would be there. Mr. Speaker, this time, when I went to visit the same place, it is 2 officers who are living in the same room. It hasn't changed. 63 years after independence, or 64 years.
Order, honorable member, for honorable member for Kericho. Please, is that Kericho? Narok, please. We have to just respect the House. Come back and do the correct thing. You cannot afford to prejudice the House that much. Go back and then just do the correct thing. Thank you. You may proceed, Honorable Farah.
Mr. Speaker, during those days, I remember police officers used to be given ration by the government. And this is a rollover from the colonial practice. They used to be given corned beef. They used to be given fish, sardines, I remember very well, in tin fish. And they used to go and collect the ration for every family from a government distributor. And for the officers who come from those pastoral areas, they used to be given dates. And ghee, literally ghee. Oil, for that matter. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this with a very heavy heart, that our policemen were better off under the colonial administration than they are now under independent Kenya. The salaries, the remunerations, the living conditions, the risks they're supposed to undertake, the lack of insurance on their deaths when they die in the line of action, and the horrible state in which they live, particularly when it comes to housing, Mr. Speaker, are bad. It pricks the conscience of everybody, including myself, when I see the kind of conditions the men and women who are supposed to be awake the whole night to protect us, to make sure that we're safe, are living themselves in the most unsafe conditions. Mr. Speaker, it's no wonder that now we're asking for psychosocial intervention, because, Mr. Speaker, protect me from the ladies who are here making a lot of, starting with the Honorable
Elachi. Honorable Elachi, manage your consultations.
Elachi,
you may proceed, Honorable Farah.
And Fatuma. Anyway,
Honorable Farah,
I'm not on the chair, thank you.
Allow me to run the House. You are not on the seat. Okay. You may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I remember those days, and I want this for the benefit of the young people who never witnessed that. Not only did my mother used to go into a government distributor and pick the ration from there, which was given to every police officer. At that time, which is basically a rollover from how the colonialists treated our policemen. My mother used to go to a butchery every day and pick a pound of meat so that we have a balanced diet. We used to be given corned beef from the Kenya Meat Commission those days. We had dates. The children of police officers and the police officers themselves used to have balanced diets. Today, we see a police officer on the beat from morning until evening. Nobody cares whether he has had a cup of tea. Nobody cares whether he has had lunch. The presumption is that his lunch or his dinner, he will have it at home. There are a lot of challenges that our officers are facing. The houses they live in are in such a despicable situation that they do not have privacy. Sometimes you find a policeman with his wife and another policeman with his wife in one room separated by a piece of cloth. 2 beds, one on this side and the other one on the other side. We expect them to protect us. And we bash them all the time. This is a nation that has perfected the art and the passion to bash police officers. We bash you. I still have a problem with Beatrice Elachi because she's very loud. Anyway.
Honorable Farah, proceed. That's a moderated consultation.
This is interesting. I expect utmost silence, yes. And that's why I don't think Beatrice Elachi is soft. She's still loud.
Order.
I'm not addressing her. I'm saying she's loud.
Order, Honorable Farah. Order, Honorable Farah. You are a ranking member.
Okay,
and I expect
Honorable
better.
Speaker, I will proceed with the contributions.
I expect better way of handling this matter. Proceed.
Proceed. I will proceed, yes, indeed. Honorable Speaker, there are 3 professions in this country where the absolute sacrifice is done by the people who man those professions. You see, Kenyans, including Parliament here, always castigating our teachers. And we know what teachers go through to get us to be what we are. You see them always complaining about our doctors and our nurses. And you have to understand, I come from a medical family myself, for you to understand, when somebody is called on a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, a lady with a breastfeeding child, and she has to go to hospital and can stay in hospital until the following day at around midday or even in the afternoon. Those professions, our doctors, our policemen, our nurses, our teachers, they deserve better than we give them right now as a country. So we will try and deal with the psychosocial, and I support this bill right now here to make that amendment itself to the act, to the Parent Act, to offer that. But what psychosocial intervention will help you against hunger, the banks of hunger? An officer who has been in the beat from the whole night and has not had dinner and cannot take out money out of his pocket and eat in a restaurant because it's not good enough. He needs to feed his family in the house. They earn so little, so paltry. So it's my humble plea to this House and to this country. Let's take good care of our officers, police officers. They work in such areas like Northeastern Province where there are IEDs planted by terrorists and lose their lives in an environment some of them have never seen before. We don't compensate them that well. When they die, their children suffer because there is no provision, there's no fund to take care of the education of those children or to take care of the welfare of those families. As a parliament, I'm very happy because I've seen many members of parliament. Mr. Speaker, can I beg you to give me an additional 5 minutes if you don't mind? Okay. Now, we are members of parliament.
We are giving you 1 minute.
What will you do with the rest? There's not very few people. Anyway, too few of them are willing to. But anyway, let me say, we as members of parliament are so conscious of what happens to our own colleagues when they come in for one term and they lose out. And we see them out in the streets because we are pushing for them to get a certain minimum pension. That's why right now we want to contribute towards an insurance system which is going to give us at least a guarantee for our own health when we are out of parliament. That when you are out of parliament, you can still enjoy the medical cover that we have now. Think of a police officer, a young man, 30 years old, 28 years old, killed in the streets of Nairobi with a young family. His wife is 4 or 5 years younger than him. He's got 2 or 3 children himself. And here they are as orphans. Do we have a system to take care of those children? Do we have that? We don't. We don't. I think it's a pity that this bill, at the stage it is and how limited it is in terms of the provision of the psychosocial services to the officers.
very well. You have had your bite. The Honorable Adan Kenan, another ranking member. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the definition of a police officer is a law enforcement officer. And pursuant to Article 243 of the current Constitution, the functions of the Kenya Police Service, Mr. Speaker, includes the provision of assistance to the public when the public is in need, maintenance of law and order, preservation of peace, protection of life and property, investigation of crimes, collection of criminal intelligence, prevention and detection of crime, apprehension of offenders, and the enforcement of law and order, and performance of any other duty that may be prescribed by the Inspector General of Police. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a timely one, and I want to thank the Honorable Masara for thinking out of the box and coming up with this pivotal legislative proposal aimed at introducing far-reaching reforms to the Police Service Commission in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the bill seeks to enhance the welfare, the professionalism, and accountability of the police force while fostering community relations. Mr. Speaker, one of the key provisions in the bill is the issue of mental health and welfare and the well-being of the member of our police officer, Mr. Speaker. Recognizing the psychological toll of a police work, of a police officer, Mr. Speaker, this bill mandates the National Police Service to prioritize the mental health and well-being of police officers by implementing structured counseling, psychological support, and wellness programs. Mr. Speaker, it is true that our police officers have been neglected over the years. They provide a pivotal service, Mr. Speaker, to the public. And Mr. Speaker, generally it's said, a country without a professionally trained, adequately funded police is a country that does not have peace and tranquility. Mr. Speaker, this critical profession, Mr. Speaker, there are countries that over the years have even survived without a military force. But no country in the world has survived without police force. This being the case, Mr. Speaker, their work involves a very difficult job, Mr. Speaker, because they deal with the public. They deal with criminal element. And therefore, part of their job is to manage criminal activities, collect, synthesize criminal intelligence, Mr. Speaker, and protect the public. So this, Mr. Speaker, requires a lot of psychological support and wellness program in order to reduce stress-related incidents and enhance the officer's morale and performance. So, Mr. Speaker, without the officers' morale and performance, it's difficult for them to execute their day-to-day job, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other aspect of this bill is to enhance oversight and accountability. And this is one of the things that over the years we have struggled to have an accountable, professionally trained, well-remunerated police force, Mr. Speaker, that meets the test of time, because Kenya is a premier republic that prides in the enforcement of law and order within the meaning of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because unless you are adequately trained, you will not have a proper understanding of the Constitution. This is why these two come hand in hand. Mr. Speaker, this oversight role, the bill as it seeks to fortify oversight and accountability mechanisms within the National Police Service by ensuring a fair, impartial, and transparent handling of complaints. Because it's two-way. They handle the public, there are complaints against the public, at times there are also complaints against the police officers. This must be put on a scale that will be fair to the police officers and to the public, Mr. Speaker. That is why sometimes when I see individuals outrightly condemning our police officers, Mr. Speaker, I empathize and sympathize with the police officers because their work is difficult. We as legislators, Mr. Speaker, we must come out and support the good police officers. It's not all the police officers are bad. We have some of the best brains in the midst amongst the police officers. And therefore, I want to urge the Kenyan public to desist in collectively condemning our police force, because they are human beings, They are there for us. They do our work. They protect us. They support us. We empathize under very difficult circumstances, Mr. Speaker. It's a high time that we as a parliament, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 243, Mr. Speaker, go out of our way and adequately fund our police officers. That is the only way we can have an accountable, resilient, ever-ready police force. And that is the only option, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, we'll have a police force there, and that's why we remove them out of the ambit of that big giant called OP, so that they have their own accountable system within the police force that will take care of their day-to-day activities, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other activities, the other issue that the bill is expected, once this bill is passed, Mr. Speaker, and I hope it will go through, it is expected to cap incidents of misconduct, promote ethical policing, and rebuild also public trust among the law enforcement agencies. Because this is the critical component, Mr. Speaker. The public must have faith in our police force. The public must appreciate the work of our police officers. That can only come if there is an understanding. The public must have information, adequate information on what it entails to be a police officer. The police officer must also appreciate what they are expected to do. This is what it means to have an accountable, professionally run, well-funded, and well-grounded police force that meets the test of our constitutional requirement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other one is they must have a professional. The bill also expects, once it's passed, provides for professional development and capacity building. Because this is a continuous education is what is required. Mr. Speaker, to enhance competency and effectiveness of the police officer, the bill emphasizes a continuous professional development through regular training, skill enhancement programs, and leadership development initiatives. And this is one of the benchmarks of even individual promotions, individual capacity building. And this is what their profession, not only actually their profession, every profession requires, Mr. Speaker, continuous training. The other bit, Mr. Speaker, is strengthening of community policing. In a bid to foster harmonious relation between the law enforcement and the public, the bill advocates for community policing as a proactive strategy, Mr. Speaker. This proactive engagement, Mr. Speaker, between the police officer and the local community, Mr. Speaker, will create a culture of trust, Mr. Speaker, and cooperation in problem solving. This world, Mr. Speaker, that is bedeviled with challenges, with criminal activities, with cybercrime, and many other challenges. We need that cooperation between the public and the police. And there must be an avenue. The avenue is this bill. The avenue is an acceptable, law-centered, law-driven, law-placed mechanism that this bill attempts to provide that will enable the police officer to function as expected. Mr. Speaker, this bill also represents a significant step forward in reforming the Kenya policing framework by enhancing the police officer welfare, the police officer welfare, professionalizing law enforcement, and strengthening community partnership. This is what is called Yumbakume Initiative. The Yumbakume Initiative, Mr. Speaker, was an administrative mechanism. But once this bill is passed, it will be anchored in the law. And this is critical, and therefore what we expect. So, Speaker, luckily in our constitution, there's something called public participation. And the framers of the current constitution, Mr. Speaker, were not naive, were not feeble. They thought out of the box that there's need to engage the public. And it's two-way. The police officer is expected as part of the Kenyan society, as part of the law enforcement community, Mr. Speaker, to understand and appreciate the ecosystem in which they operate. That ecosystem is unique. It's filled with criminals. We have law-abiding citizens, Mr. Speaker, and there's also public expectation on what the police officer is supposed to do. Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding, there are a number of things that the bill we must also take into account, because it's one thing to legislate. The issue of funding and resource allocation, Mr. Speaker, as I've alluded to, must be addressed comprehensively, because we can legislate, Mr. Speaker, and we have legislated in the past, but this must come with a proactive, practical funding program for this bill to have a meaning. Mr. Speaker, the other bit is, once we talk about the stakeholders involvement, Mr. Speaker, this bit must also be collectively approached through public education. The other one is conflict resolution between the public and the police. Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to say this. Our police officers, as part of our police diplomacy, are right now in Haiti. This country has prided itself by being providing some of the best police officers. I want to urge my colleagues, even as we approach the budget of 2025-2026, I want to beseech you.
Well, ranking member, let's allow other members also to contribute. Great speak. The Honorable Catherine Wambilianga and then the Honorable Nyamai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to weigh in on this matter this bill that seeks to improve the wellness and the welfare of the police officers. It is common sense, and we see it, that our police officers actually are not living a good life. And as much as they're not living a good life, it's something that has been not corrected by us, especially us, the key leaders in this country. These are people who have taken good care of us. They help us whenever we have issues. We call them to order when we have matters in our villages, in our homes, and all that. But when you come to the welfare, and even whoever takes care of the wellness, it has not been taken care of. I wish to support the Honorable Masara who brought this bill, because looking at what the policemen go through, especially in terms of matters, mental illness, most of them actually find themselves in a corner, especially when faced with situations. They have nobody to go to, and it is us, the public, who should help them, and us, the legislators, who should help them. Our police officers have gone through very difficult situations. When, for example, there's an accident on the road, they're faced with a very difficult situation. They're the ones we call to remove the bodies. When there's drowning, we call them on to order to remove the bodies for us. But at the end of the day, nobody seeks to sit down and counsel them. They get back to their homes with their normal problems, which even emanate from the poor salaries that they get. So you find with such situations, a police officer goes home, is very stressed, goes to meet a family, and whenever there's anything in that family, they always result into cases of suicide. This is really something that us legislators should look at. So I want to support the fact that they establish for them a wellness center that will care for them. I remember when I was young, I had a brother who was a police officer. We could visit him, but the conditions under which they lived was terrible. The government has tried to improve on that, but not good enough. They still share beds, they still share houses, and so much has happened. But these are our own sons and children whom we have educated. We expect them also to have good life, and when they get home, they also need to have that peace that everybody else gets. But in our own opinion, when we look at officers, they are only verified. Nobody respects them because we imagine these are just officers who should take care of us. But us, the legislators, we should also look at their welfare and know how to, what we can put in place that can make them, cushion them from a number of issues. And the fact that we are also seeking to establish wellness centers in counties, I feel the government should also allocate a few resources. And to support the previous speaker who has just spoken, Honorable Kainan, we should even relegate some of the funds from other ministries and put to this police officers' welfare so that they have centers where they can go and have reprieve in such centers. I support this bill, and I hope at the end of this, the implementation will take place. Here in Parliament, we pass bills, but the implementation becomes a problem. So once we do this, we believe the government will take this in place and the bill will be implemented. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kitui South, Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this very important bill by the Honorable Masara. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill, and it is trying to enhance the work that is done by the National Police Service and also the work that is done by the Inspector General in order to provide better working conditions for our police officers. Honorable Speaker, I would like to start by appreciating the contribution by the Honorable Kainan and the Honorable Farah Maalim in the way they have clarified the importance of this bill. Honorable Speaker, these police officers who are taking care of everyone, from the president to our own villages, are not just officers. These are our children, these are our grandchildren, these are our nieces and nephews, these are our husbands. These police officers, Honorable Speaker, are our boyfriends. Honorable Speaker, these police officers are girlfriends of people of this country. They have offered themselves to go to the most dangerous places, to be working at night when people are asleep, to be going to the dangerous places. For example, in my own constituency, police officers working in Ekoda, working in Mutomo, are the ones that are going to Moda, and they are the ones that are going all the way to the border, to places called Konekaliti, where they go to places where there is no chief, where there is no assistant chief, and places where people have occupied, and we expect them to give us the best. So, Honorable Speaker, with that background, I would like to say that we need to ensure that their mental health is taken care. Honorable Speaker, these police officers are the ones who collect bodies of people who have disagreed within their homesteads and fought and killed each other. The police officer will be the first to come and collect those bodies. When there is a road accident on our roads, our own police officers are the ones who will go to collect those bodies, Honorable Speaker. They may not even be getting there after service counseling to get those bad images off their minds. And they are doing it every other day. Honorable Speaker, when these police officers are exposed to all this collection of bodies all over the country, picking bodies that have decomposed, delivering them to city mortuary, I think that we need to make sure that we pass this Honorable Masara's bill to ensure that we provide the funding that is needed. We have a very good public service, police service commission, Honorable Speaker. We have very good officers, like the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kanja, people like Masengeli, wonderful people, but what can they do without proper funding? So, Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that I support this bill that is going to ensure that our police... Give me a minute.
Please add, Honorable, 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like just to say that in the interest of time, that we need to provide money for them. We need to ensure that these camps are properly equipped, not only with the equipment that is required for relaxation, but also the human resource that is needed to give them the training that they need. Honorable Speaker, also ensuring there is a proper link between the police officers and the community. And I hope that beyond this bill, we can even have an open day for our police officers within our sub-counties and within our counties, where they make use of this money that I hope that will be not only provided for by our budget committee, we would like actually to see that budget line provided for so that we can support that budget line and ensure that money is provided for them. So, Honorable Speaker, I would also like to see a situation where their retirement is properly planned, such that they are not so worried that they are working in far-flung places, and when they come home, they are not even sure of their benefits. So, Mr. Speaker, when we take care of these police officers, we will ensure that their families are taken care, their children are taken care, and the community's well-being is good. Honorable Speaker, I would like to give an example of a young man from my constituency who has lost his job already. I have done a lot, Honorable Speaker, writing back and forth letters to the Inspector General. He was serving as a police officer. He went back home to find that his own wife is not at home, that his family has disintegrated, and because of that, he got into drinking. And I believe that what happened to him was not fair, because this is a sick man who is drinking alcohol out of frustration. So we need also to be careful with the discipline disciplining of police officers, and I can see it's part of this bill, such that they are not just punished so harshly without establishing the reason as to why they have become indisciplined. So we need also to look at the issue of police who are drinking alcohol. Some may be drinking alcohol because of a situation that they find themselves in. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill fully, and I hope that it will be passed by this House so that we can provide the camps that are needed and have a situation where the mental health of our police officers is taken care. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Very well. The Vice Chair of the Committee on Security, Dido Razo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to add my voice to this very important bill by Honorable Masara. Honorable Speaker, a police officer is a first responder who is responsible for law enforcement and public safety. A police officer provides emergency services by responding to call and investigating crimes. They patrol areas to detect and prevent crime, and are expected to write an incident report at the end of the day. Honorable Speaker, as members of this House and as legislators and leaders in this country, I think if there is a profession that we have given a raw deal in this land, is for our men and women in blue. These are police officers. This amendment is progressive. It is also forward-looking. More importantly, it addresses three cardinal areas. First is about accountability across the police force. Secondly, it addresses the role of leadership, both about those who command police officers and men, and also about we as leaders in this country. What is our responsibility to have a good police service? Honorable Speaker, the second aspect of this bill, it addresses the welfare and well-being of our men and women in police uniform. In odd hours, in rain in dusty areas, and in dangerous locations, these are men and women we call upon to provide public safety and security. Sometimes they are poorly armed, they are ill-equipped, and the terrain does not favor them. But because it is their duty, many people think that police service is about employment. It is actually a calling. In many developed countries across the world, the police are the most well-remunerated civil servants. Because when you try to describe the task or the work of a police officer, then you begin to feel that actually this man or woman does more than what the Salaries and Remuneration Commission thinks about. Honorable Speaker, recently, during demonstrations, riots, protests, attacks, and even incidents of rustling, this particular force was the most blamed, blatantly. But little did we experience people coming out to say, yeah, okay, we know what happened to demonstrators, but what about the police officers and men who are keeping peace in a particular area on that day? There are those who lost their lives. There are those who lost arms and legs. And there are those who have lost loved ones. Honorable Speaker, as a former military officer, and a distinguished one for that matter, in a day, those men and women of the police force, when they are on a beat, in whatever part of the country, they go through so much. They recover dead bodies, bodies that have been thrown into pit latrines, bodies that have been thrown into sewages. They are the ones who will go to the morgue to identify bodies. And in the end, as a result of that, these men and women go through serious post-traumatic stress disorder. We appreciate it with minimalism because we think it is normal and it is their job. But these are fathers, husbands, brothers, sisters. So they are human beings at the end of the day who will appreciate soothing words for somebody to say, thank you, well done, it is okay. So when this bill came up before our committee, we really thought through it. We called the stakeholders, and we were also amazed at the input in terms of appreciation, because we did not just look at only the men and women in blue, but also on the other side, from the civilian side, who gave us very serious input in terms of going forward, how do we professionalize our police force? In terms of training, of commanders, of constables, so that they are able to do their job, but at the same time, they remain accountable to those people they are supposed to protect and defend and look after them. When you look at the job of a police officer, they give the ultimate sacrifice by putting their lives on the line. Today, when you look at social media, there is an incident in Northeastern where a police vehicle has been hit by an IED, and some of them were injured. But for people who are just looking at that on the social media, they'll think that they were careless or they didn't have the right vehicles and all that. But on the other side, a family has lost a loved one, and soldiers and commanders have lost their colleagues, comrade in arms. So that is why the issue of psychosocial support that has been overlooked for too long must begin to be addressed, starting from a police station all the way to the highest command level. Because if we don't do that, then we are going to lose very good men and women who will have substantial contribution to the life and well-being of our country. Honorable Speaker, during our interaction, one of the things we found that must be done is the issue of uniform, medical support, insurance, pension, housing, ration, protective equipment. Among those things that must make our police effective, professional, and efficient in them carrying out their duties. Finally, Honorable Speaker, there are words that have been used to describe the men and women in blue: determined, strong, ambitious, brave, hero, selfless, courageous, friend, daring, responsive. These are verbs that have been used how a policeman or woman carry out their duties by putting their lives on the line.
The Honorable Karoli Omondi. Okay. The Honorable Peter Kihungi. And then down here, the Honorable Fatma Masito. She's in the house.
I'm here.
Proceed. Speak. Yes.
Basi niseme asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kuweza kunipatia fursa hii nami niweze kuchangia katika sheria hii ambayo imeletwa mbele ya bunge hili na Mheshimiwa Masara. Mheshimiwa Spika, sheria hii inalenga kuboresha ustawi na hadhi ya askari wetu polisi. Mheshimiwa Spika, polisi wetu wa taifa hili la Kenya wanaishi maisha utadhani wao si binadamu wala si watu ambao wanatangamana na binadamu. Mheshimiwa Spika, askari polisi wetu wa Kenya wana dhiki. Hiyo lugha ndio naweza kutumia ndio iweze kueleweka vizuri. Wana dhiki, wana shida, wana maisha magumu wakati wanatuhudumia na wakati pia baada ya kustaafu. Mheshimiwa Spika, sheria hii ambayo inataka kudumisha ustawi wao na hadhi yao, Mheshimiwa Spika, na kuweza pia kuwatengea kitengo maalum cha kuweza kuwashughulikia askari hawa ambao mara nyingi wanapatikana na ile shida ya msongamano wa mawazo na pia wanapata madhara ya akili. Mheshimiwa Spika, askari wetu wanafanya kazi ngumu sana. Mheshimiwa Spika, unaweza kumpata askari amefanya kazi hata masaa 24 akikimbia juu na chini. Mara nyingine unampata ameitiwa mahali tu accident imetokea, hata wewe binadamu wa kawaida huwezi hata kuangalia yale mazingira ambayo ajali ile imetokea, kwa sababu pengine mtu ameumia vibaya sana au pengine amekufa kifo kibaya sana, lakini sijaona askari akiogopa kusongelea hali kama ile. Wengine unawapata wameenda hata kuokoa mahali moto unatokea, amekwenda kuokoa na anapambana na mambo mengi. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, mazingira yao ambayo wanaishi askari wetu wa Kenya ni aibu. Ni aibu hata ukiyasema kwa mataifa mengine, na ni aibu pia kwa sisi wenyewe wa Kenya. Wanaishi maisha ya kinyama kabisa. Mheshimiwa Spika, unampata askari amepatwa na msonga mawazo kwa sababu hata familia yake mwenyewe inamshinda kuihimili, kwa sababu kwanza mshahara ni duni, pili hawezi kupata matibabu mazuri, tatu hawezi kupatia watoto wake elimu nzuri. Basi Mheshimiwa Spika, maisha yakiwa kama hivi, askari utapata wanajihusisha na mambo mengi. Wengine unawapata wameingilia ulevi mpaka amekuwa mlevi mbwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu anafikiria leo hii mimi nimeshinda kazi tangu asubuhi mpaka jioni, lakini mshahara mwisho wa mwezi hata uwezi kusema utamtosha, hata wiki moja hauwezi kumtosha. Wanaishi maisha, anakopa, mwisho wa mwezi akipata mshahara, Mheshimiwa Spika, analipa tu madeni na anaanza tena alifu kwa kijiti kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Yaani anaanza moja tena. Anaanza moja kukopa mpaka ikifika tarehe 30 akipata mshahara analipa madeni yale na anaendelea kuishi. Haya ni maisha aina gani, Mheshimiwa Spika? Ukilinganisha na ile kazi ambayo askari polisi wetu wanaifanya ndani ya taifa hili, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mimi naunga mkono sheria hii iweze kudhibiti, kwa sababu askari ni ndugu zetu, ni baba zetu, ni kina dada zetu, ni marafiki zetu, tunaishi nao vizuri na wanatufanyia pia kazi nzuri zaidi. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, niunge mkono sheria hii ikipitishwa, na ninatumaini itapitishwa na bunge hili, iweze kusaidia hawa ndugu zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana kwa kunipa fursa hii.
The Honorable Edith Nyenze.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to air my views on this bill on Police Service Commission. And let me take this opportunity to also congratulate our colleague, Honorable Masara, for this good bill. I note that this bill is a bill that aims at strengthening what we already have, especially on the mandate of the National Police Service Commission, in addressing the mental health and well-being of the police officers. And this bill establishes psychosocial units and also programs whose aim is to promote the mental health and well-being of police officers. The bill is actually trying to insert a clause into 12A, which requires a police commission to provide police officers with some mental health services. And this bill requires the commission to establish well-equipped centers in offices, in camps, in their training colleges, and communities for police officers to receive psychosocial services. Madam Speaker, I note that apart from this, our police officers do a lot of work. They are actually exposed to harsh environments, where they actually not even been trained in, to environments which are harsh, and especially this day in age, with our current social media, the police officers are actually badly exposed. So apart from creating these centers, it's also good to note that we need to also improve their personal emoluments. Their salaries are sometimes very low. They stay in very bad houses. Even though this one has been talked about for a long time, nothing much has been done as concerning their housing and also their salaries as needs to be improved. So this psychosocial support is very important because being exposed to such environments, they are meant to have some mental torture. Some of them go to some harsh areas, and they stay in such areas for months without even taking leave. And when they take leave, they are actually not given enough money to take to their family. So you are overworking yourself. You are not being appreciated by the people you serve because you are correcting them. They don't appreciate you. The environment is harsh. And then at the same time, you are not taking, there is nothing to show for it, especially taking to your family and your children. And you also find that some, after being posted in harsh areas, some police officers have stayed in very harsh areas for a very long time, and they are not given transfers. Even when they keep on applying for transfers to other areas, they are not considered. And this is, with the time, this one exposes them to a lot of torture, leading to some ill mental health. Therefore, these centers are very important so that they can actually share with their supervisors. They can also discuss with their colleagues. They can also hear their views so that they are helped in these areas where they feel they are badly exposed. I also, Madam Speaker, also feel that the training which they get does not expose them enough to such issues. So I think it's also, as they get trained, it's also good for them to get exposed to the kind of life which they will be exposed to when they go to the real work. Like now we have some people in Haiti. Maybe some of these police officers are people who have been trained in Nairobi, in urban areas, and then they are taken to very harsh areas. One has not been exposed to such. Yet you are supposed to keep your job because the job opportunities are very rare. So you are actually put in a very harsh and very hard environment such that you need some help. And this bill is very important because this bill is expected to try to address such issues and improve the welfare of the police officers, especially their mental health. With that, Madam Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Nyense. The Honorable Mary Wamaua, member for Maragua.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute to this amendment bill of the National Police Service. Madam Speaker, as I support and congratulate Peter Masala, I also want to say that I support all my colleagues in whatever they are saying, because it is true we need the establishment of the psychosocial support centers, especially starting with the county, so that at least we can be able to address mental health challenges within the force by promoting professionalism, stability of the mind, and also accountability. Madam Speaker, it is not only in the police force that we need these psychosocial support centers. If it were possible to the government, we would start them in all the sectors that we have our people working. Madam Speaker, you bear me witness that as we study today, there are so many issues that people are coming across, starting with the economic hardships, the social media and online pressures. Madam Speaker, the relationship and family struggles that we have. Also the workplace stresses that we usually encounter as we try to work. Substance abuse and unhealthy coping mechanism, Madam Speaker. And also the health issues and lack of access to mental health care. Madam Speaker, all these are issues that are making our people who are working, not only the police officers, really to need the psychosocial support centers. Because it is from these that we shall be able to speak to the mind, to guide and counsel, and even to get closer to many of our people who are getting affected out of all what surround some of the areas that I've talked about. Madam Speaker, you'll find that depression is not only in the police officers and other people who are working for this government, but you're also getting it in our children. Those in secondary schools, in universities, and also in the primary schools. Because when it touches on the economic hardship, and the parents have been hit by this, and their children are in the universities and they require the basic needs, and they cannot be able to be provided by the parents, then you get these children undergoing such problems, equally to those who are in secondary school. Madam Speaker, long time, when we were in primary school, we did not have this, like the way it has described, out of the issues that there are today as compared with that time. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I can say without any fear or contradiction that this bill is very crucial to be amended so that our Kenyan police officer who are witnessing troubling increase in suicide cases amongst their ranks due to the factors that I've said can really be addressed. The proposed amendment, Madam Speaker, provides structured mental health support, potentially reducing incident of erratic behavior linked to the mental distress. Madam Speaker, this is very crucial to the people whose work is to protect us. And thus, we should start by, first of all, looking at their mental well-being first so that we can enable them to serve the country better. Madam Speaker, you can imagine a police officer who is already mentally depressed and he's being weighted to deliver work during the day, maybe less a bit, and at times, because we still have shortages of staffing, to wake up at night and still go on patrols to protect our people. Madam Speaker, this is not an area that we can forget, bearing in mind their work is to make sure that there is security while we are asleep in our businesses and in our working places. And therefore, since this is a constitutional right to each and every Kenyan, then you know we really need, as we go to other sectors, we really need to start with our Kenyan police officers. Therefore, that is why I want to congratulate Honorable Peter Masara for having thought about this, so that the moment we start with this, because I know it's going to yield good fruits, then as a government, we should think of how it can trickle to other sectors so that at least we can be able to fight the depressions and the stresses in our working areas. Madam Speaker, I know we have such places in our hospitals, but purely on the level 4, 5, and 6, which are not everywhere. Therefore, if we can say in each and every county we start, then we shall be assisting some of the areas, the little that there is, to address the psychosocial in our hospitals. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say I support this and request, when this motion goes through, let it be fast-tracked so that it can be implemented to make sure that whatever we are bringing out as areas that are affecting our police officers and others in different working places can be addressed. So, Madam Speaker, I support.
The Honorable Andrew Okwome, member for Karachonyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Now, let me first say that the work of police is extremely essential, important, and very, very necessary. And I say so believing that we are not treating our police force or policemen in a manner commensurate with what they do for us. These are people who face danger every moment they are on duty. Sometimes they work at night, and at times during the daytime. And in each occasion, there are, in some cases, people behind them looking for how they can disable them from doing their work in order that they can stop whatever illegal action these people wanted to take. Some lose their jobs during that kind of process. When it comes to the conditions of their living, Madam Speaker, some live in what it is shameful to think of as residential houses. The structure they live in is made of mabati. The floor is sometimes cemented, and at times it is bare soil that is just made at least to enable them put their beds or mats on. All these are very frustrating conditions. The people's attitude on police needs some corrective action. Some people think of police as enemies, not realizing that they are not really enemies. Those who think of them as enemies are criminals. Those who think as their enemies are maybe drivers, because they want the drivers to move their vehicles systematically and legally. Although they have something to say which is corrective on the policemen themselves, and that is the bribes that occurs occasionally with some of the policemen. Madam Speaker, I cannot emphasize much more on the problems the police face. But one thing I must say is on the positivity. The policemen are providing security for us. People just realize their importance when a problem occurs. Under such cases, everybody's looking for a policeman to come and bail him out. That's when people know the importance of policemen. I think our population also need to be educated so that they can realize the importance of the police service, because we need them. And because of the necessity of what they are doing for us, I think they need to be paid well. I know one of my colleagues said they are well paid. I very much doubt this. These people are not paid well. And that's why you see them looking for almost no mistakes by drivers and ask them for some coins in their pockets. We don't need to subject such people providing excellent service to us.
The affordable housing is a key plank of the government under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Under this project, the government seeks to construct 1 million houses, both social and affordable, by the year 2027. But this initiative has not been without challenges, both political and legal.
Yes, because so far I have 140,000. Of course, the question is, but you have done 2 years. Maybe Kenya should give me the benefit of a 1 year off, because you remember the starting was very difficult. There was a lot of negativity. There were court cases and litigation, and we had not money to get the fund. Now we have a fund, which we are calling the Housing Levy Fund.
This week on Inside Government, we are talking to Housing Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome. Our conversation will revolve around affordable houses, the challenges, the opportunities, and the way forward. Watch the conversation right here on KBC Channel 1 with me, O'Brien Kimani.
Hello?
Hey, Shoyan. Are you coming back?
It won't be too long.
Is Jin being all right? Is it serious?
She has a mild concussion.
Can you drive?
Yes.
Then drive me to the hospital.
You're feeling sick?
No, I need to take care of something.
It's a big problem. Look, I was watching it just now. I really don't know which idiot uploaded the video of the shooting site online.
we always find a way. How many times I thought you in my corner, but slowly you were breaking parts of me. Now I hate the first day I said hi. Vacations in my time, I took you all around Dubai. I didn't know that you could make me cry. Don't wanna see your face, so baby, this is my goodbye. I'm picking your clothes, lady, I'm showing you do. I can't let it go, your manipulation is toxic. You're tearing my furniture apart, just like you did my heart. I can do these again, I don't want another start.
And you shortchanged me, you just shortchanged yourself. You know, recently I ain't been myself. I want you to want the same as you, you ain't the same as these girls. Heartbreaking be the deepest pain in the world. What dog do you know? I had a train in itself. I'll case from Chanel, but you ain't on the shelf. I can't buy you back with anything from this world. So yeah, alone, out of receipt, yeah, alone. I would else have every vehicle. Now you would act like an angel. You let society shit. Fit yourself in like a play.
Now the night is ending, I need you in my bed. It's been raining heavy, I ain't got nobody. Leona Pandwana feelings, I cannot help myself. Yeko weka kwenye noku yitasemaka, mwami weka kwenye noku laga yewaka. Sete yo bebe jiteke munze zezeka, zeseba kanka kwetona tukaka. Baby we muka, yenze nabagere kagwe kabaka. La 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 la, love, boys and sex. To the east and west, you give me the best. Walla, 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 le. To the east and west, baby, you're the best.
I'm elevated. I'm elevated. More than ever, I've been waiting on security. The humidity is different, how the windy be good to generation all night long. The rhythm is eloquent, and a body like you means a change of song. So focus on the baseline, focus on the way that the tune lay you down real slow. Light up a little bit, focus on the way how you're loving on me so right.
Why you messing my mental? We can keep it all ghetto. I can put you on a level, be your angel and your devil, yeah. Slippery and gentle, on the yacht private, oh. Just plug in my cable, treat me special, pack a case, yeah. La 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 la.